living in Cambridge was awesome. I served there for about 6 months of my mission, and it was about 3 months to 9 months how long I'd been out when I served there. So it was, one of my first big mission experiences, and it was really exciting. It was also a really hard time of my mission for me personally, but I learned so much there, and it will always have a special place in my heart. Cambridge, England is a lot different. It is very different from the rest of England, especially London. But Cambridge is a fairly small city. I mean, there's a lot of people there, but it's fairly small in its size. It's named after a river. There's a river going through it called the River Cam, and originally they built a bridge, and so it was called the Cam Bridge. Now they call it Cambridge, but yeah, there's a beautiful river going through it. And the easiest way I can describe it is like having BYU, a much older, more filled with better architecture or older architecture university with a city inside it. And like that's how I thought about it. As we went from place to place, there would be school halls here, school halls there, classrooms here, and then a Tesco, a restaurant, a Nando's right next door. Like everything was just all mixed in between each other. And that's one of the things that made Cambridge so fun and so beautiful. On every corner you had part of Cambridge University and then, part of Cambridge town. It was just all mixed in together, and the people were from all over the world. One of the things I grew to love in Cambridge was just people of every nation. I can't remember how many different nations were represented in Cambridge that I met just in my 6 months there, but people from everywhere. Some of our investigators were from China, Colombia, India, Kazakhstan, just people from literally the entire world. And that was a really exciting thing for me, growing up in Utah, just being able to meet people from everywhere. A typical day in Cambridge would consist of us waking up, obviously, and we lived about a 20-minute walk from the town center, which could take either 20 minutes or 3 hours, depending on how talkative we were on the way. But we'd usually wake up and then we'd start heading into town center. And we'd go to the street called Mill Road, which was more of like the South Provo side of Cambridge. A little bit less rich and a little bit more, I don't know, it felt more real. There was just a lot of things happening on Mill Road. A lot of really fun things, a lot of cultures going on. And it was a lot of fun to walk up Mill Road towards the town center every day. There was always tons of people to talk to on Mill Road. A lot of things to do there. We would cross over the bridge, over the train tracks, and we'd get more into the city of London, the city of Cambridge. And I still remember the hours and hours we spent just talking to people on the streets, talking to people in the park. And it was one of my favorite activities to do, just because we would get so many people who would be interested, and we would have so many opportunities to teach in Cambridge. In Cambridge, there are two universities. Obviously, the University of Cambridge, which is very common, very well known around the world. But there's another university called Anglia Ruskin, which is a great university, maybe not the tier of Cambridge, but also an excellent university. And there's a park in between the two, a little box called Parker's Piece. And there's two sidewalks crossing the park. I'm thinking about it the wrong way, backwards. But Anglia Ruskin was down here in the south, and then Cambridge University was kind of the whole city right here. And so the students were constantly crossing from Anglia Ruskin to Cambridge University. And there was like a shopping center down here and another shopping center up here. So it was the path that everyone took. And I probably spent thousands of hours, maybe not thousands, hundreds of hours on that park, just talking to people. Most of the people that we found that progressed were found on that park, which is kind of crazy to think about. But it was just so successful because people were so willing to talk. One of the frustrating things in Cambridge was that, because it's Cambridge, people are really smart and intellectual, and they know they're smart and intellectual. And so there would be a lot of people who would, try to convince us of their beliefs, and weren't really to try things, which could be frustrating, but it was also nice to see their perspectives and understand where they were coming from. We taught most of our lessons either on the park or in the library if it was winter. You asked about weather earlier. England gets really cold. And it's not so much that the temperature gets, below zero, but it's just so wet and so rainy all the time that the humidity just gets to you, and it's so cold. Freezing to death in Cambridge that one winter was fun. And it snows too. I remember one day, the snow was everywhere. All of our appointments got canceled, and so we just traveled to members' homes, giving them the sacrament. We walked 10 miles that day, just all over Cambridge. And I remember thinking, what were we thinking? Who knows? But it was a great experience. Cambridge was a really great opportunity for me as a new missionary to kind of be enculturated in England. I felt like it had the perfect mix of very British people, because Cambridge was a very British town, but also all the diversity that came from the students. And kind of there I developed a love for teaching students. I spent pretty much my whole mission working with students at university towns. 6 months in Cambridge and 6 months in a city called St. Albans, and a little town called Hatfield right next to it, which is where the University of Hertfordshire is. And then about 8 months in central London, right across the street from a university. So in Cambridge, I kind of developed a love for teaching students, especially students from other countries, and gained a love for that.